Welcome to the Calm Mind podcast. Reduce the noise and create more calm and harmony with my guided meditations. In today's podcast, I am going to delve a little bit further with you so that you can master meditation easily and quickly. So last week we practiced being silent, and one of the questions you may have asked yourself is, did I do it correctly? As you meditate, so many thoughts are very likely to come to the surface of your mind. After all, this may actually be the quietest that you've allowed your brain to be for a long, long time. It is also likely that you start to question if you did it correctly. Now, the simple answer to this is yes, you did. You did just what you were supposed to do. And you did it exactly as you were supposed to do it at that moment in time. Don't worry too much about the process. Congratulate yourself on the very fact that you meditated and you did it. Another question a lot of people have is, what should I expect? Now, this is a really valid question that comes into most people's mind during, before, or even after their meditation session. What should I expect to see, feel, or experience whilst I am meditating? Now, the short answer to this is, do not expect anything specific to happen because there is no right or wrong experience. And if you start to wonder about, search for, or expect something specific, significant to happen, then you will be focusing on that instead of just observing your thoughts. However, here are the three most common things that could happen to you. The first is, as you're paying attention to your breath and whatever it is else that you have going on, you may find your mind wandering. Specific thoughts may arise in your head, and if that happens, that's okay. Number two, as you're paying attention to your breath and whatever else, you may gently fall into a quiet, peaceful space where you're simply just quietly observing whatever is happening around you. And number three, you may fall asleep. You know, there are no right or wrong experiences. There are just experiences, and all of them are perfectly normal and valid. If you do find yourself falling asleep during meditation, which you will probably only realize when you wake up, that's okay. One easy way to avoid this happening is not to lie down, to sit up straight with your back straight and leant against a wall. If you notice your mind start to wander and you do become a little distracted with your thoughts, that's also okay. And lastly, there is a chance that you may realize that you weren't in the most comfortable position or the location where you meditated. Now, if this is the case, just try and adjust it accordingly for next time. If your clothes were too tight, wear looser ones next time. If your chair or your couch wasn't very comfortable, you could always try padding it with cushions or using something else to sit on. If your body was starting to feel fatigued, strained, possibly in pain, you could, again, try adjusting and accommodating for that by stretching out and relaxing before you meditate, or whatever works for you. Another question many people ask is, how long should I meditate for? Well, you'll be surprised to hear that there isn't really any set amount of time that is ideal for meditating. The most commonly suggested time range is, though, about 15 to 30 minutes. If you are listening to one of my guided meditations, they will be anything from 10 to 40 minutes. My longest meditation that I've personally listened to has been 4 hours, and the experience was deeply profound. However, I wouldn't recommend that this is what you start with. This was an advanced meditation practice, and it was done under specific guidance. My guided meditation practice will be sufficient for you to get started on your meditation journey. And if you scroll further into my previous episodes, you'll see that I have countless beautiful meditations, 15 minutes or less, that you can access free on my podcast here. Now, if you're practicing meditation on your own, it's important that you have a loose time goal in mind. You could either notice the time before you start, or you could even set the alarm to alert yourself after a certain number of minutes. Let's say, for instance, you could do 3-minute sessions twice per day for the first week, and then during the second week, you could try and increase this to 10 minutes per session twice per day. Ideally, you would need to start and conduct your meditations during the same time every day. But if you don't manage to do this, it is not a big deal. I personally find that the morning works best for me as soon as I wake up, because as soon as I wake up, I'm in between theta, and therefore it's easier for me to access my subconscious mind. However, just do your best to keep a scheduled time set aside twice each day for meditating. If you're not able to do twice, just do once. If you're not able to stick to the planned time, don't beat yourself up over it. As long as you find 10-15 minutes per day, be it on a morning, afternoon, or on an evening, and take that time to connect with the silence and allow yourself to be still. As mentioned, I do prefer it early in the morning or just before you go to bed at night. Meditating before you go to bed on a night really helps relax your mind and relax your thoughts of all the things that you've had running through your mind throughout the day. So it can really just enable you to get into relaxation, still your mind, and subsequently that's going to help you sleep better. If you do suffer with insomnia or problems falling to sleep because you feel that you have lots of thoughts and things racing through your mind just as your head hits the pillow or before you go to bed, you can access one of my sleep meditations on the podcast here, and I will put the link in the show notes, so you can just directly click on that link and it will take you directly to the podcast. However, like I said, don't get too hung up on specific timings or how often you should do it, even if you miss a day. The important thing is that you're doing your best to meditate. Life can be very, very unpredictable, and plans tend to change sometimes. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. And if you miss 1 or 2 days, don't beat yourself up about it. Just start all over again and enjoy the process. Thank you. Much love, Zoe. This podcast was brought to you by Mabe Media, a podcasting platform for powerful female voices. If you have been thinking about starting a podcast, then look no further. Mabe Media will guide and support you to make that dream a reality. For further details on how you can connect with Mabe, check out our show notes. Thanks again for listening, and make sure that you are following us on social media, and see you next time.